When we hear the word pornography, a thousand different things could come to mind easily. But today we will be discussing a heated debate that has been had for pornography for the past years. Whether or not suppressing pornography throughout cities and towns across America would be okay or not. Would it help the situation? Would it help the problem of pornography, or would it hurt it? Or would it hurt our society and further deepen it into trouble? Now, I am in no means an advocate for pornography, but I am an advocate for freedom. And that is the root of my stance on this subject. I do not think suppressing pornography would help at all. In fact, it would probably hurt it more than anything. Today we'll be talking about legal issues behind the idea of suppressing. And we will also be talking about overprotective issues that create more problems, create more harm than good. Now, the first source that we have to look at as we discover this heated debate is the First Amendment of our Constitution. It says clearly that we shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or abridging the freedom of speech or the press. So by suppressing pornography, by trying to eliminate it, trying to pry it away from the hands of anyone that enjoys it, it is strictly and directly going against our First Amendment. How could we justify that? Our whole country is built on this very, very important document, and yet suppressing pornography would go directly against what our founding fathers had in mind for this country. Now, we can read further along through an article by Joseph Slade in 2002 published by PBS.org. He goes on to describe how murky the definition of pornography really is. Some people describe it as strictly violent, hardcore videos, nudity. But on the other hand, on the other end of the spectrum, we have people that could see a primetime television show on ABC that airs on 9 o'clock at night as pornography, or romantic novels, or any R-rated movies. Now, I'm just trying to stress what Joseph's tried to stress in this article as far as the definition of pornography is so wide and so varying and so paradoxical that we cannot just simply say, okay, we're going to suppress pornography. Otherwise, we'll quickly become losing of our freedom of press. Do we really want to lose that over something like this when there are plenty of other alternatives? Not suppression, though. And not only the legal issues are very concerning, but also overprotection. It's supposed to be intended for good, but can cause more harm than not. Just as Kelly Aldenweller from the Communication Studies Journal suggested. She said overbearing protective parents actually hurt their kids in the long run. It affects them. It affects their decision-making, independence, and self-confidence negatively as they grow into adulthood. So let's say that we suppress pornography. We have in mind the good idea, the good intention of keeping our kids away from the issues and the evil that is out there. But overall, over the grand scheme of things, we're actually harming our kids. We're taking away their choices. We're making choices for them. The bad choices that they could make, which they probably will make, we're just taking that away, destroying their growth as a child into adulthood. We don't want to do that. We got to be very careful about doing that. And not only that, but a more alarming issue that is brought up by Fernanda Mina and Dick Hobbs in the Trends of Organized Crime say that prohibitionist approach to drugs promotes more harm and violence than good. By taking something away, it therefore creates an unseen danger, even more so than if you had just left it alone. By trying to take it away from the grips of people, grips of society, they looked throughout the world's history, all of the world, as people tried to do this, such as the prohibition of alcohol in the 1920s. It created more harm than good. So let's say we suppress pornography, or we attempt to. We're ultimately going to make the situation even worse. We're going to explode it into crime, into hate, into violence. And this article from Mina and Hobbes also says that it affects the most vulnerable members of society. That is just scary. Why would we want to do that? Ask yourselves that question. And you notice they say specifically approach to drugs. They say the drugs, if we prohibit the drugs, that will cause all this violence. Pornography, according to Hilton and Waltz in the Surgical Neurology Journal, compares pornography to addictive drugs such as cocaine and methamphetamines. So, as research builds upon itself, we can see that pornography is just as addictive as a drug. So, by taking away pornography, we're also taking away a type of drug that people crave, that people are so addicted to. And it's going to cause way more violence than good. By taking away our freedoms, like mentioned in the very beginning, it creates more problems, more headaches. So let's look into the alternatives. Instead of just simply trying to bury a problem or hide it or burn it, because it's going to come back 10 more times worse, 100 more times worse if we try to do that. We have to let our children grow up and make their own decisions. Thank you.